everybody. Welcome back to How Come. I'm so excited today. One, because this episode is amazing, and two, because you guys were so sweet. After last episode, when I begged you all to rate and review us on iTunes, you finally did it, and we hit over 1,000 ratings and reviews. That is so insane. Thank you so much. Reading these reviews makes my heart swell. Also, it really helps out the podcast. Like I said, to keep going, we need advertisers. We need to be higher in the charts. We need better guests, all this stuff. And it's only helped by you rating, reviewing. And you guys are really doing it and coming through in a huge way. So thank you so much. It means so much to us. Also, if you could follow us on Instagram at How Come Podcast, that's a big deal to us. Mostly because we are almost at 10,000 followers. And when you get 10,000 followers, you get that really cool swipe up function on your story. And we really want to be able to do that so we can share more articles with you, teach you more stuff. Sometimes I can't type as much as I want, and you don't want to read through an article like on Instagram. You want to be able to click through to it and maybe save it for later and not have to copy down the link if I type it out for you. We can do that if we get 10,000 followers. So we only need like 600 more. Get your friends to follow How Come Podcast. You know how it's spelled, How Come Podcast. For some reason, I know the reason, but Instagram is literally limiting our views. Even if you follow us, you can't search How Come Podcast unless you write the whole thing and press search. They're prudes. It sucks. We can't advertise on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere because come is in our title. But fortunately, you guys, the fans, have been sharing, and all of our success and any reason why anybody knows about this podcast is because of you guys. So keep spreading the word, please. It's awesome. And yeah, it really fucking sucks that we can't advertise. We would love to be able to reach more people, but we can't. So we need you guys. Also, if you want to hear more from us, go sign up for our newsletter, howcomepodcast.com. Yes, we have a whole website now. We're going to be coming out with merch soon, so get excited for that. We're also putting together a big tour for you guys, a How Come tour at the end of this season. If you want to come see me before, I'm going on tour soon in July, down the East Coast. So if you're in Virginia, if you're in Pennsylvania, any of the states in between, check out RemyCasimir.com for those dates. You can come see me do stand-up. I'll be testing some How Come material, probably. And I love to meet and greet with everybody after the shows. So come say what up to me. Tell me how you came for the first time after listening to this podcast. I love it. I'm also really excited for today's episode. A lot of you have been writing in. We're like, oh, I love the experts so much. We're learning so much, but like we want to hear more sex stories and like sexy, horny. This episode's going to make you sexy, horny. Last episode, we were talking to Logan Pierce about porn and adult films and all that stuff. And a lot of people get off that way. If you're not into porn, you might be into reading erotica. Logan actually wrote a book that we were talking about last episode, and we gave it away. We always do fun giveaways on our Instagram. So congratulations to C Star Sunwolf. You are the winner. Congratulations. You just won Logan's book called Between the Sheets, Rise of a Working Stiff. Like I said, a lot of people love reading erotica, watching it. If neither of those are for you, a lot of people like listening to it. I just emceed an event this weekend for NSFW, that Soho House of Sex that I went to in episode 7 last season. And the event was so fucking cool. Porn stars were reading their erotica in ASMR, which is like spoken sexy words. I was the one telling jokes in between that. I was like the least sexy part of the show, but whatever. It was these adult film stars reading their erotica while their porn that it was based on played in the background. So it was Lisa Ann, Abigail Mack. It was amazing. They are so talented. So that was an honor to be able to do that event. It was so fucking cool. And audio porn is growing. There's a company called Dipsy that does audio erotica, and they just raised $5 million in funding, which is awesome. There's a new company called Quinn. We're going to be talking about with the founder later on in the episode. But first, we're going to be talking to somebody who makes audio porn and gets one of the producers of this podcast pretty horny on a regular basis. So get excited. This episode's going to be awesome. Again, rate, review, subscribe, follow us, How Come Podcast. Do all of it. And thank you so much again. I am so excited to get this episode started. Let's go.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
So excited. Today we're talking about audio erotica with Jim from feelgoodfilth.com. His audio content is male for female and ranges from vanilla to BDSM with a soft spot for DD/LG, primarily featuring the male in the dominant role and always focused on female pleasure, which we love.
Sure do.
Welcome, Jim. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
This is going to be the best.
Yeah, really.
I think I already mentioned to you, but Charlotte's a pretty big fan, and I was nervous that, there would be cum at the drop of your voice.
You can check my seat when I leave.
Hilarious.
No, but we did talk about audio porn on an earlier episode. And so when I was trying to find links, because I'd never listened to it before, I stumbled across yours.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is good.
But yeah. And then she told me, and I was like, very good.
So can you explain a little bit about what it is you do?
Of course. I like to call them two-person sex streams, what I record for you guys. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I was a musician, and I loved to improvise. Ooh. You know, like when you're improvising, like, you really feel the music, and you're playing, and you can see the people, and you know that they're feeling it too. Like, anyone who is a musician knows that that's just like, that'll get your dick hard. So, like, I stumbled upon Reddit and the audio subreddits, and I found Gone Wild Audio, where anyone can go post audio clips of themselves, and I was listening, and I stumbled upon some of the male for female content, and I listened to a bunch of it, and I think you ladies were underserved. So I thought, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring here. I've always had a mind for the erotic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a perv. And I love to improvise. So I thought, hey, I'm going to do this. So I come up with little scenarios. I get them from listeners. Charlotte, I don't know. Maybe I've fulfilled one of your requests. I'm not sure. It's mostly anonymous. But
I think with her, like, she kind of said to me, she's like, there's a lot of stuff that he let me know I was into without me thinking that would ever be a thing.
Yeah. Like, I've never called someone daddy during sex. And I don't think I would, but listening to it, I was like, this is not at all what I thought it would be. Because when you think of, and DDLG is daddy, dom, little girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, when they would think of a dom, they think maybe it's like aggressive or something. But what you have is, it's like a relationship. Like, you're very caring about the listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a DDLG relationship, that kind of BDSM relationship, and to and to preface too, like, it's not just it's not just for men and women. Any gender, any orientation can engage in what's called it's CGL, caregiver little, really is kind of the this term, and it's a form of domination, a dom sub relationship, where it's really focused on like care. And, that kind of nurturing between like the dom and the sub. And it's like just a really awesome, it's an awesome thing for me, because I'll tell you guys, I have issues with intimacy, and I grew up, and unfortunately I was physically abused by my female caregiver. Oh. And, going through life, I've had issues in forming bonds and with relationships. And, it's so cool that through performing this stuff, and I saw like those audios posted, I'm like, what the hell is this DDLG crap?
Yeah.
For people with daddy issues, and then I listened, and then I read about it, and I had an open mind.
Yeah.
And I discovered it. And I actually had a partner. I found a partner who's my age, like early mid-30s, and she was like, hey, would you be interested in this? And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of know a little bit about this, and and seeing someone who was my age, a professional, who had her own career, was a real like boss bitch, essentially, who wanted to be, who needed that care. And it was a really restorative thing for her. And I started playing in real life, and then I started performing it. And I've had such an awesome response to that content. And I think it's because, through that play, and I have a relationship with someone now where that's where, given that dynamic, I can have a safe spot to experiment with intimacy and caring and those things. So it's like through kink and even like the kinks that I've discovered performing this stuff, it's led to relationships and like positive mental like health, like and well-being breakthroughs in my life. And I call it like feel good filth because like I'm all about that, and we can use sex if we have an open mind, and we can tear that shame down.
Totally.
To really like have positive like mental health like breakthroughs and awesome life experiences.
Yeah, I feel like all the time I'm telling my friends to masturbate, and it's not because I'm like, oh, you need to be more of a perv. It's because like it's good for you. It's good for your body and your mind to like explore your fantasies and get your body off.
Yeah, it's very empowering too, especially for people who have gone through whether it's trauma or assault.
How did you get so good at vocalizing it though? Because I mean, I've been running this podcast for like 2 years now, and I still can't really do it as much as I'd like to.
Like talk dirty to your listeners? I don't know if that's...
No. Like talk dirty like to my boyfriend, and how other people can become more comfortable.
I don't know. So for me, I sometimes have a hard time enjoying sex.
Okay.
And for me, like, I'm actually recovering from a kind of a nasty illness that kind of took 10 years of my life. And I have some neurological damage that kind of prevents me from enjoying all the physical sensations. Like my physical sensations are diminished. And for me, like dirty talk is like so mentally like engaging and stimulating. Like to be able to turn someone on with your words and turn on their mind. Yeah. And that's what's so cool about like the audio stuff is, you'd mentioned like folks with trauma and things like that. And the audio allows you to like, you control the visual narrative. Yeah. And because you do, it engages your imagination. It's a really fun, like intimate thing. Totally. And as far as like how did I get so so good at it? I mean, I don't know.
I've got an English degree.
No. I'm one of those squares like business MBA types. But I guess I guess I never shut up. Okay. So why would I shut up in the bedroom?
Sure.
Right. And just
Are you good at sexting and like phone sex in your own life?
I mean, I'd much rather have real sex.
Okay.
That's like the most fun sex. But I guess the funny thing is I really don't like get off on phone sex that much.
That's funny.
Okay. Yeah.
People would like always ask me, or I get messages saying like, hey, whenever you want to like jump on, like I'll try and make you come with my voice. And I'm like, I guess for me, whenever I have jumped on the line with someone, it's me kind of giving the instructions and doing all the talking. And I think that's really hot.
Yeah.
But 2 ways, I don't know. It's not as cool for me. So I guess I found my medium.
Yeah, that's like our dad is, he gives hair transplants and he's bald.
Yeah, but I try and share like my one-sided, sexual conversations with the world.
Totally.
So hey.
That's awesome. So how did it become a job?
Oh, I have a day job. I don't know if I can even call this a job yet. I hope it becomes a job. That means like income.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a lot of work. I haven't made any money yet, really. But
I feel like you definitely can. You have 600,000 views on Pornhub alone. You could monetize that.
Yeah, just since like January or February when I put that stuff on, it's pretty cool.
That's wild. It's insane.
So another place where you can find my content is Quinn. And Caroline Spiegel, who's actually, she's a really, really interesting girl. She's finishing up at Stanford. And her brother is Evan, who's the founder of Snapchat. So this year, on Martin Luther King Day, I remember I woke up and I had a message in my Reddit DMs. And it was like, hey, would you like to work on a project? Yeah. Let me know and I can tell you more about it. And she told me about Quinn, which is a non-visual porn site for women because, she has a really interesting story and, she'd gone through some things that left her with some body image and confidence issues. Yeah. And, the visuals of porn were kind of disturbing for her. So she's creating this platform and it's really cool. It launched not too long ago.
I love that you brought up Quinn and Caroline Spiegel. She's amazing. And I actually got to interview her this week in my house. So we're going to do a How Come first. And we're going to listen to that interview for a second and learn a little bit about Quinn from Caroline herself. And then we'll be back with Jim. She's sitting in my house right now, even before she has to go walk in graduation this week. She is a new business owner. She owns the new business Quinn. Welcome, Caroline Spiegel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you could find the time in this busy of a week.
Yeah, well, of course. I'm a huge fan of yours. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So you're doing something in the audio porn realm.
Yeah.
We talked about it, I think, a few months ago before you were about to launch, and now you've launched. So why don't you tell the listeners about Quinn and your story and all that stuff?
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Quinn is a website. It's kind of in 3 parts. There's one part where you can submit stuff. So you can submit written stories, audio stuff, and you can also submit like fantasies, which are basically the same thing as stories. And then there's also a portion where you can read stories, and then there's a portion where you listen, and that's the meat of it. It's the listening portion.
And it's mostly targeted for women.
For women, right? Exactly. And the listen portion has tons of stuff. It has guided masturbation where people tell you how to touch yourself. And then there's like just straight dirty talk.
Cool.
And then there's like stories, which are like kind of immersive. Like someone's like, for example, there's like a babysitter story where like a guy is talking like he just came home and someone's taking care of the kids and then they end up having sex or whatever. So these like kind of immersive one-sided stories.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Well, it's like
POV, but listening.
Exactly. But it's kind of like they'll put pauses in for where you're supposed to talk and you kind of imagine. So it'll be like, are the kids asleep yet? And you'll kind of pause, and then you're kind of like,
do people actually respond? Like,
no, you just kind of imagine in your mind,
okay.
I'd be like, yeah, baby, they're asleep.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so fun. How did you? Because you're still in college. You're graduating from Stanford this week.
Yeah, I'm not technically graduating. I'm walking. Yeah, but
because you've been on a leave.
My parents' dismay. Yeah.
Yeah, but. Because you've been taking time to do this company.
Yeah, exactly.
And what got you interested in doing it in the first place that you were like, this is something that I'm going to disappoint my parents?
So, yeah, I basically came to Quinn through a personal struggle / journey. I had anorexia. I guess I still kind of struggle with, some thoughts sometimes.
Eating
but
disorder.
yeah, it's kind of not something you just get over. But at the height of it, it was my junior year and I took time off. And through that process, I struggled with sexual dysfunction, which I kind of, people are like, what is that? And for me, it kind of manifested as not being able to get aroused, kind of like a lack of libido and inability to orgasm. And it kind of led me to realize how important sex is.
Yeah.
To my relationships, to my life.
And you had always been able to orgasm before?
I had never really like deeply struggled with it. I think, I wasn't one of those people that had like a million orgasms every time they had sex. But once I really kind of got into my groove with sex, like probably midway through my first relationship with my boyfriend, I was able to orgasm. And that was like a 2-year-long relationship. So I've listened to your episodes and people kind of, that seems like a pretty regular period of time.
Definitely. There's everyone is so very normal. I was just asking though, because it's like you lost it. And if it was something that was like such a big part of your life, like it's like, oh, fuck. Like this is actually kind of like a wake up call of how important it was when I kind of took it for granted, maybe.
Yeah. And I think more than anything, I just realized that sex is a way that we show people that we're into them, in so many different ways. Like we can show people that, we like them a little bit, that we like them a lot, that we're having fun with them. It's a way we communicate so many different things, and it's so fun, and it's just this like huge part of life.
It's so funny that you say that too, because I was telling my friend about how my boyfriend and I got together or whatever, and like now looking back on our relationship, he's like, I don't know what gave you the idea that I liked you or whatever. And then my friend who was a guy was like, he was fucking you or whatever, and I was like,
I'm dying.
Yeah, but like, do they actually equate like in today's society? Like there is a lot of casual sex, but I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's liking that person enough, like to a certain extent where you want to make them feel good. But
this is what Quinn is about, is I want to bring like intimacy and the meaning back into the world of sex. Like, I think like with these audios, it's different from watching visual porn because you hear sort of what's the context here? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? What's the story? What's the background? What are they feeling? And I don't think it has to be, I'm in love with this person or I'm obsessed with them, but
it's like, look how amazing her boobs look right now. And like you can hear that from the guy's perspective, which like you don't really take into account.
There's like something going on upstairs, which there always is. Even if it's like, I'm not that into this right now, which obviously we don't have that on the site, but like, when you're having sex, like you're a person, you know, like
totally.
You are a person and you are like living a life and that's all a part of sex. And sex is so much a part of our lives. So like, let's embrace that's all part of the package.
I find it so interesting that it came from a break from school too, because I just assumed that it was like part of like your senior thesis or something like that. Like you had to come up with like a business school, like something or whatever. And it's so the opposite.
Yeah. And as soon as I started talking to my friends about this, I found so much. Like, I'm sure your podcast is basically like the best example of this. Like, everybody has a story in this realm. Everybody has a struggle. Everybody has different challenges. And like I said, it's just this huge part of life.
Do you have like forums and stuff for people as well to like share their stories or?
So our main goal right now is just to arouse you.
Okay,
like,
cool.
That's it.
Cool.
But I would definitely love to like, sometimes we get like users together and we hear their thoughts and that often segues into people just sharing about life and sex and stuff. So.
Who's making the content? Like, how did you find the people?
I basically have so my job is mainly to run content. And so I just am constantly on like a talent, like America's Got Talent hunt for people.
You're just like walking in the city and your ears perk up. You're like, that voice is amazing.
But that's literally what I
Really? Oh my God, that's amazing.
People like, I love this restaurant and I go to it all the time and they just get annoyed with me because every time I'm just sitting alone at the bar, like inevitably I end up like just talking to someone and being like, so like, can I have your email? Like I have a potential job for you.
That's hilarious. So are a lot of them newbies then?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Complete newbies. But I mean, as anyone will tell you who's actually been doing audio porn for a while, it's like an incredibly difficult job. So I don't want to dumb it down. Like it's not something you can just jump into and just ace it.
Yeah.
So I think the more people, the better that get into it, but it's a long time before you become somebody that's acing
that's
it.
Proficient in it. Yeah. And do you guys have editors working on it too? Like say somebody has an amazing voice, but their timing's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's awesome. See, people don't really even think about, and we've talked about this a lot, like the work that goes into porn. Like visual porn is a film set. Audio porn is like a podcast studio essentially, and like has all the makings of everything. And like it's people doing work for your pleasure.
Yeah. Yes. And I think what's also really cool is thinking about really spending like thoughtful time thinking about what gets women going, you know, like really like taking time out of my day every day to think like, okay, you know, what was it about 50 Shades of Grey? Or what was it about this one audio that did so well on our site that's really working for women? And I just think that's like an underserved question. Yeah. You know? So it's really fun to think about.
And in the beginning, was it mostly just, or even now, is it you just thinking of things, or do you have like a writing team?
So a lot of our content is user generated.
Okay.
So like people will submit things to the site and then people like, we watch how many listens audios get and we watch how many likes they get.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an organic process.
Right.
Like how on Reddit things get upvoted. It's kind of like similar.
Yeah.
And then we don't have like a writing team because it's like user generated.
Right.
And then our professional creators, they like to create their own scripts.
Yeah. So like Jim.
Yeah. So like Jim, for example, I'm not touching his
just
process.
Spends all day making fantasies. That's awesome. And were you very into audio stuff specifically?
So yeah, so audio porn really helped me find my jam again.
Okay.
And I think what's so cool about it is you can really use your imagination.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't like pin you to one one guy and one girl, or, you know, maybe people you don't really find that attractive, or
if you get bored with some fantasy, you're like, oh, sub her in.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And sub yourself in.
Yeah,
you know?
sub yourself in too.
And I also just found that the things that turned me on were little tiny moments that weren't like, they were really intimate. Maybe someone touching me somewhere, or like nibbling on me, or doing something that was really not something you were really seeing in visual porn. And with audio porn, the creators really take the time to describe in like intimate detail these little moments, and that's what really like got my imagination going. And no matter how high def the visual porn is, you're just not going to get that level of intimacy.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm touching your skin. Like, you can see skin touching skin, but you don't think about like, oh, that moment touching that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So when you decided to go full force with Quinn, like, had you talked to a bunch of friends about it first, or?
Yeah, so we also did a bunch of like potential user interviews. And we talked to women about their masturbation habits, their porn habits.
Were you studying business first?
I was actually studying computer science.
Hilarious. That's so funny. My friend Betsy, who's been on this podcast and is one of the horniest people I know, has a master's in computer science.
Yeah, what is
you
it
guys
about
get
these
down.
These computer science majors? And my partner was an investment banker, so we're just really pivoting.
Yeah. How did you guys find each other?
We were sorority sisters in college, yeah.
Okay.
And she's 3 years older than I am.
That's awesome. And I remember you reached out to me like pretty early on, and I remember at the time being like, oh my God, this is going to be something great and big.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just, you know, my whole goal is just really to, you know, make something that causes more fun and happiness for women. There's so much out there that tells you to be better always. You know what I mean? Like just constantly telling you like, oh, this like masturbate because it'll make you healthier, which like is definitely true. But like also do it because you'll feel good and like you'll be happy. Yeah. You know? So that's
what I think about though. Is like I'm like it'll mentally make me feel good.
Yeah.
Like physically, for a second, for a nanosecond. Sometimes I don't even know if it's happened. But afterwards, I'm like, do I feel good? Was that all worth it? Oh yeah. Now I'm less stressed. Let's move on with the day.
And that's what we always say with Quinn is like, work it into your day. Like grab your coffee, like use Quinn for 20 minutes, take a shower. Like it really just does like lift you.
Yeah.
You know?
Do most people listen to it when they're not masturbating then? Like they're just listening to it as like a daily...
No,
yay?
most people are
masturbating.
getting down.
Okay. So I was like, in the shower. But I guess, people masturbate in the shower all the time.
I just meant like shower after.
Yeah. Great.
Like rinse you get a little sweaty, rinse it off.
Yeah, totally. Nanny listens to a lot of Danielle Steele novels. But she does listen to audio stuff all the time.
Dude, it's so good.
It's so good.
There's just literally nothing better. I don't know how to like express it to people until they try it, but it's so addictive too. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good.
Were you into ASMR ever?
Yeah, so we have ASMR audios on the site too. We have just one that we just added this week that's called ASMR Erotic Wet Sounds.
Wow.
Let me tell you, don't knock it till you try
it.
Well,
so my friend Dylan Palladino, I was on his podcast and we listened to spaghetti mixing ASMR together. And it was
probably pretty similar.
So uncomfortable for the two of us because it literally like makes your body like contort. Like it's like we looked at each other and we were like, that was more awkward than if we had kissed. Like it was so crazy.
It's crazy. And also they have these things called binaural audios where it's like a little bit in one ear, a little bit in the other ear.
Yeah. So it can like whisper back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
it's crazy.
There's just so many things like remember when you were like younger and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like most of the jobs now that people have, those didn't exist when people asked the question.
It's so true.
Like if somebody said to you like, oh yeah, like little Caroline is going to be like an audio porn enthusiast, you'd be like, what is that?
I'd be like, no, she's not.
No, she's not. She's going to go to science camp.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be like a tennis player, I think.
I wanted to be a ballet dancer.
And then president.
No. And it's like, you're going to talk about cum on a podcast. I'd be like, You don't say.
Interesting.
Interesting. Tell me more about this podcast.
What is cum, you say?
Do you guys have ones where it's like two voices?
Yeah, those are really cool. We have some that are just, some of our most popular audios are called overheard sex. And that's just people having sex and it's like dirty talk back and forth.
Whoa.
And you hear them having sex. It's so hot. It's so hot. Those
But are
actually
some
of my
people really
favorites.
doing it?
Yeah, they're really doing it.
And they're just recording themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of masturbation audios of people just masturbating and fantasizing out loud of things they would want to do. We have a great overheard oral audio, which I recommend to guys who want to like listen.
What is that?
It's like a guy eating out a girl. And
his
super
thoughts
hot.
going through the process?
No, it's just her moaning and him like, you like that? Do you like when I do this? So it's not really his thoughts, but kind of like his different moves that he's doing.
I think people really want to hear that shit too, though. Like, and that's why they come to this podcast and like why I was reading Cosmopolitan from like the age of 6, because like you just want to know the exact moves that people are doing that are working for people. Like, even if you're like, oh yeah, I know my body likes this, it's just something that you didn't know existed and gives you like more of a technique or whatever. Like in Seinfeld, they say like the twirl or the swirl or whatever while going down on a girl. But like no one ever tells you what that means. Obviously they were doing that because of like, they can't. It's for the censors. But people want to know like, what does that actually mean? Where am I twirling? What part am I licking? And that kind of descriptive thing.
And I think also what Quinn really shows is the most important aspect is communicating that you're enjoying it with oral, you know?
Yeah.
Like we see over and over again in our audios, the best ones that people are responding to the most is when like a guy is going down on a girl and he's just communicating to her like
how much he likes it.
I like the way you taste.
Yeah.
I like the way you smell. Take your time. I'm enjoying this, you know? And that just is really important.
Yeah. So was your first orgasm then with a guy?
It was. Yeah.
Okay. And you were like, how old?
I was probably 16.
Was it crazy?
I remember exactly where I was. This is so bad. Mom, please don't listen to this. I was fully clothed.
Amazing.
I was fully clothed and we were in a sleeping bag.
Whoa.
Under the stars.
Whoa.
I can't believe I'm sharing this right now.
That's so cute.
He's going to kill me. Yeah. And we were on a camping trip. There were people in sleeping bags on either side.
Of course. Because group sex is what you do when you're a teen. We don't know why.
And we were just like grinding in this sleeping bag. And yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't even sex?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we had been like having sex, but that didn't do it for me.
Right. Well, girls love dry humping. Like so much. It's so funny. One of like my favorite sexual experiences as a youngster was on the 8th grade bike trip. I got fingered in a tent but like we were under like other people hooking up too, because like there was one tent that the chaperones like weren't. It was just weird, but we thought it was so fun and inclusive. But yeah, it didn't result in anything. But yours did, and
it was crazy.
Like like were you like something like?
I was like, something's going on. Like, I'm dying. Like, something's happening. And I didn't have my contacts in. I remember this vividly because I had, like, not brought enough contacts for the rest of the trip. And I had just gotten a prescription for contacts. So, like, my vision wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, the stars were, like, super blurry. And, like, everything was just, like,
hazy.
Like, I was just tripping.
Yeah. That's so cute. Okay. And then after that, were you like, I need to seek this sensation again? Like, did you know about orgasms for women at the time?
You know, I honestly didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And I always tell this story about the first time I had really experimented with porn. I was too scared to go on a porn site because I thought they gave you viruses.
Yeah,
and,
same.
you know,
Same.
So I remember searching like dirty movies and coming to this like Spanish movie on like some like download like free download movie chan site and like downloading it and watching this like sex scene in some foreign film, and that was my first experience with porn. And I think that's how a lot of girls feel, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
totally. I mean, I still did a year ago. I was like, I'm not downloading porn. I'm not even going to YouPorn because like it's going to give me cookies or whatever. Like,
so yes, that was my first experience with porn. And then from there, I tried to kind of masturbate, but I really found myself like orgasming with this first boyfriend of mine, the sleeping bag boyfriend.
But just or like you guys eventually figured out how to do it without your clothes
without
on.
the clothes on.
Okay, cool.
Although that to this day, I think that's probably my favorite orgasm, my first orgasm.
Yeah, because it's so unexpected. That's our first.
I'm glad we brought back that memory.
Fully clothed orgasm. Yeah, high five. Great job. Killed it. So you know what Quinn does? Is it subscription based or
it's all free?
It's
right now.
all free.
All free. Just come check it out.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and it's nice to have women starting things because a lot of the things we hear about porn is that there's nothing created for women, and this is a huge website that's for us,
just for gals,
but
also guys
and
like
guys
it.
too. Yeah, that's the thing is like I feel like when we started How Come, it was like, okay, this is for women, but a lot of our listeners are guys who hook up with women,
exactly, right?
You know, and want to know what's going on and like what we're talking about and the moves, like we were talking about, like how do we do those moves? And
I think that's so true. And also, it's like, you know, who's to say what should turn on anybody, you know, like whatever floats your boat. So if something is for women doesn't, you know, necessarily mean it's
totally
just,
there's girls who like really hardcore porn.
Exactly.
You know, like I was just talking to Nikki Glazer today and she loves like double fisting videos with like gaping vaginas. And I'm like, cool, that is not for me.
Different strokes
but
for different folks,
for different folks. Literally, like some people like a really fucking hard vibrating thing and somebody just wants a really small suction thing. Like you just have to find where you are. And you guys have a bunch of different categories too.
Exactly. And that's something that, you know, people initially were like, you guys should just focus on one thing. And I was like, but that's not how this realm of life works, right? Literally everybody is different.
Yeah.
You can't find two people who want the exact same thing with sex.
So you've got like BDSM stuff, you've got people going down on people, you've got point of view stuff, you've got relationship stuff.
Yeah. Hit me with another.
You've got
we got lesbian stuff, we got we got straight stuff, we got
trans stuff,
solo stuff. I don't know if we have any trans stuff yet.
You gotta get more trans stuff.
You've got to get more trans stuff. Yeah.
Old people sex.
Yes, we do.
Amazing. Married people sex.
Married people sex. We do.
Incest. Fake incest. Step.
We have step. We don't have real.
W.
What's that?
Big beautiful women.
Yes. And like body praise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. It sounds like you guys are killing it and getting off to an amazing start. I'm really excited for you.
I'm just so glad we got a chance to speak, and this was so fun for me.
I'm very happy that we got to get you here, especially before you graduate or walk for graduation at least. Can you tell everybody where they can find you online or Quinn?
Yeah, so Quinn is tryquinn.com. So that's TRYQUINN.com. That's where everything's at. And then on Instagram and Twitter, we are Quinn Takeover.
Awesome. Why Quinn? Why the name Quinn?
So one of the first guys who was helping me with Quinn, he said the first girl he ever knew who watched porn was named Quinn.
Oh.
And then I fell in love with the name, and I've just been obsessed with it. The domain isn't available, the Twitter isn't available, but I still love the name. So
I love it. No, I mean, it's perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Everybody should be a Quinn.
Everybody. And it's kind of, it's a boys and girls.
It's a boys. So, yeah, exactly. So like, be yourself, Quinn.
Yeah, be yourself. How come?
How come? I have to ask this at the end of every sexual experience, which this has been. Caroline, did you finish?
I came.
Amazing. Thank you for coming. And now we're going to get back to Jim with Feel Good Filth.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Okay, so before we actually get back to Jim, I just wanted to say something because I recorded with Caroline before I just emceed that NSFW event. and they were using the mics that have like 2 ears that you go back and forth that she just mentioned. And at the event, I didn't tell you this, guys, before, everybody had headphones. So like if you've ever seen like a silent rave, like how everyone's dancing and like you can't hear the music because the music's in the headphones, that's what it was like, except for we were all listening to ASMR next to each other while porn played in the background and the adult film stars were reading their scenes that were playing behind them. It was crazy. Everyone was so horny. Also, NSFW is a sex club, so I'm sure everybody went home and fucked after that or fucked each other. But I got too high and I left. Anyway, how fun was that? She's so cool. Did you like leaving the interview for another interview and then we're about to return to the previous interview? Let me know. Leave us a rating or a review. Also, please do not rate based on the sound quality of Jim's mic. That is my bad. I should have just had him record on his own equipment. Instead, we put my phone up next to the mic on speaker, and I think he was on speaker too. It was not a good idea, but we're going to give you a little taste of what Jim actually does and how good his audio quality is, because it is not... I literally named this track Fuzzy Man because we've been trying to fix it and make it sound listenable. It's really bad, but I mean, the content is good. But yeah, please don't rate based on that track of this episode. It will never happen again. But yes, here is some of Jim's content. Prepare to jizz your pants. And then after that, we're going to get back to his interview.
You pressing and wiggling that gorgeous ass into me against my cock. Fuck. Can't you feel it throbbing against you? Oh. Do you like that? Those gentle kisses down your neck? Maybe just a slight nibble. Not enough to leave a mark, of course, but I always like to make my presence known. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good to have my lips on you, gorgeous fuck. Because like I said, I missed you so much. No, God, and I just have to have you. Oh, can I beautiful? Oh, I want to take that gorgeous pussy of yours. I want to taste it. I want to fuck it. Oh, and I want to fill it with my cum. Oh, come here. Oh, God. Undress for me. Oh, no. I'll undress for you. Oh, no. No. What I want you to do is I want you to flip over for me. I want you, that's it. Let me put my hands, let me wrap them around your legs. That's it. Spread them apart for me. Oh, and I'm going to lay right here and just push these hips into my face because I have to taste your pussy. Do you like those? Do you like those gentle teasing kisses? Maybe a few light nipples. Oh, up and down your legs. Oh, look at that gorgeous ass of yours, goddess. Oh, fuck. Let me taste you.
Whoa. Okay, that is all you get of that one. That one is goddess worship. If you were like, oh, he's too nice, there are many other types, as me and Caroline were talking about. And isn't his audio quality good? I'm going to give you one more sample. Here you go.
You hit me so hard. You hit me so fucking hard. Will you put your fucking legs over my shoulders? Yeah, so I can put this fucking hard cock in you. Oh, that's a good girl. Oh, that's my good fucking girl. Oh, okay. All right, now. Oh, God, my tip's just fucking opening in your pussy. Can I slide it in? You want me to slide it in? Beautiful. You want to feel my cock in your little cock? Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me slide into you nice and slow, okay? Those strokes feel good. Those strokes feel good, baby doll. Oh, God. You see what you do to me. You see what you do to me. You make my cock so fucking hard. Oh, God, you little gun. Oh, God, you little gun. Oh, it feels so fucking good. Oh, you little gun feels so good. God, just let me fuck it. Oh, look me in the eyes and just let me feel your gun on my cock. Fuck. Oh, God. I've been waiting to feel your fucking gun. Oh, goddamn day. Oh, God, it's fucking tight. Oh, you're tight. Tight. Perfect little slit just gripping my cock. Fuck.
Okay, now that we're all sufficiently horny, let's get back into the interview. That second one was called Good Little Cum Slut. Those two samples, I think the longest one was only 2 minutes, but the actual version is like 12 minutes long. So like these are scenes that go on as long as it takes women to come. Whoa, what a novel idea. And speaking of making women come, we have to tell you about a very, very important toy. Huge announcement. I know we talk about a lot of sex toys, but this one I don't think we've talked about enough, and we need to because they are amazing if you like suction. The Satisfyer family does the best sex toys that I've tried in a while. Or what's it? It's not actually called suction. It's called
Air Pulse Technology.
Air Pulse Technology. I'm in love with the Satisfyer Traveler Pro. I will say it. It is my Death Eater of orgasms. It sucks them out of your body. It doesn't give you a choice. It's attractive.
It's so discreet. It is so cute. Mm-hmm. But like you would have no clue that this little baby can pack a fucking punch.
Mm-hmm. And it's just shaped like a little rectangle, and then like you pull the parts apart, and then like one part is a suction, the other part's just a little cap, magnetic cap. That part's really fun too. Like if the sex stuff that you're getting out of it isn't mind-blowing enough, like I just like to clamp those little magnets back together.
Oh my gosh, when you lay down on it, it's the best.
It's a dream.
It just sits there. You don't have to do anything with it.
Yep. You know what too is like it's perfect for a slow jerk. Mm-hmm. Like you can do it really fast. If I'm up to like level 4, it could be like 20 seconds. But if I just feel like hanging out and like having a slow rub one out for like an afternoon or whatever, like settings 1 and 2 are so nice.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No other toys really can do that. It's like they'll vibrate really intensely or the pulse is really strong. Yeah. And these have that, like you were saying, with like Tantra almost. Like you really get this whole body experience.
Yeah, just like resting and taking care of yourself and having the best time. So if you guys want a Satisfyer toy, we highly recommend them. Go to us.satisfyer.com/US. Satisfyer is not spelled like you think. It is with a Y. So SATISFYER. 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 Yes, us.satisfyer.com/US. Go get them and have some mind-blowing orgasms. And they don't break the fucking bank. I used to talk about a certain product all the time, and it was way too expensive, and I never wanted to hawk it again because I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
These are so affordable. They have a range. I mean, they don't even just have this pulsing stuff. They've got dildos. They've
so many different toys.
They've got, anything that your heart desires. So yeah, go check those out.
With a 10-year warranty.
Whoa.
They're incredible.
Amazing.
I love the Pro 2.
I love the Pro 2. It's shaped like a boomerang. It's white. It's so cute.
Literally, though, there's this Cosmopolitan article that is titled, "We tested every kind of oral sex vibrator out there, and here are the ones worth buying." Three of them on there are Satisfyers.
3. Go get them. Listen to us. Goodbye. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
And, her contact me and saying, hey, like, I like your stuff. I want to pay you for it. Just like out of the blue.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And, women I've dated and know in my real life, they said, dude, like, you could make money doing this. And you know what? Now we shall see. I actually started a Patreon like a month or so ago. So we shall see if there is demand.
Yes. I mean, I think there will be.
Definitely. Like you've said before, like mental health and sexual health are so intertwined. And I think for women especially, being mentally in the moment is so important during sex that sometimes like some porn video might come up and you're like, ugh, and it just brings you right out. But like when it's your own imagination, you're in full control.
We're a little nitpicky with visuals too, like especially because like women are expected to be perfect. And so we'll also look at like what isn't perfect. That doesn't happen.
Or comparing yourself to
Or comparing yourself to yeah, exactly. Like with you, it's like I can visualize, it's all about me.
Yeah.
Or Charlotte.
That's how I make it. It is all about you. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you raised talking about sex?
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Okay.
My parents are actually like fundamentalist Christians. So there's a little bit of so when I told my mom that I made porn and that, you know, I'm so happy to do it and it's such an awesome, enriching, and dare I say wholesome experience for me. She was kind of a little shocked, but hey, you know, that's me. And, you know, I think, you know, in Caroline, you know, to go back to the Quinn example, someone who's like young and, you know, visible and, you know, honestly, like smart, you know, putting their name behind porn and sex and not being ashamed of that.
Totally.
I mean, like, that's what we need. Like, that's really, really what we need. Because think about it. Like, if you had an animal that you were conditioning, like, and you said that, okay, for this animal in a cage, every time it exhibits interest in mating, we're going to give it some kind of negative reinforcement. We're going to tell it it's bad or it's shameful. Like, how do you think that animal would turn out, right?
There'd be no animals left.
Right, exactly. But that's what we do. Like, we grow up. And sex is shameful and it's dirty and, you know, we shouldn't talk about it.
Totally.
But, you know, I'm here to, you know, I really want to have a message of, you know, hey, it's cool. I'm a regular professional square dude.
Yep.
And, you know, we can be sexy too. Normal people, like, you know,
are sexy.
And average people can be sexy, right?
I think we always talk about that, like, especially after like I was on Explained on Netflix for the female orgasm episode, and a lot of the feedback was, oh, like, it was so nice to see a quote unquote normal person talking about orgasms, or even like a lot of feedback from this podcast, like, because I guess most people in the space had been dubbed as perverts, like, and you even said yourself, you're like, oh, I'm a pervert. But I actually looked up the word pervert the other day because I called myself a pervert, and I was like, what am I calling myself? And the definition of pervert is somebody whose sexual desires society sees as different from the norm. So the definition of pervert shifts with whatever society sees as the norm.
Right?
Like, we're just horny people doing a completely normal thing too.
I guess the proper nomenclature would be just horn dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you discovered your body as a child, like, were you just doing that on your own? Were you looking things up on the internet?
So fascinating thing. So my grandmother was a receptionist at a clinic, and she, like, for some reason, she took home all of like the doctor's old medical reference textbooks. So I was, you know, like 3 years old, thumbing through these things and found some very interesting, like, pixtures.
Photos,
I have that. You know, so like my early sexual exploration was like, you know, finding it in a human anatomy book and then touching it myselove. And
you're like, I'm going to learn how to read.
Yeah, like that. Like, this feels good. Awesome. So, you know, it's kind of.
Do you think
began my journey?
Were you like 3 when you first masturbated then, or?
You know what? I probably would say, like, as far as like touching myself for some kind of like sexual pleasure, I'd probably say like 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and so fundamentalist Christians, I don't think we've talked about that particular sect. Is there a summary for people that aren't familiar?
Well, I mean, a lot of folks who just like take the Bible very, very literally, like 5,000-year-old Earth folks, dinosaurs on Noah's Ark, you know, kind of folks. People who just like, hey, you go all in. You got the book. You're going to take it. You know, you're going to take it 100% literally. And you know, in that religious tradition, maybe sex is something that isn't accepted or out in the open, kind of how it is for me, and I think, and all of us here on the line.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of like dissonance, and there is shame, and I grew up like at being ashamed, like being what, a horn dog, as I said,
yeah,
and always feeling ashamed, and having that constant like fight inside of me, and it was like, it's anxiety and it's shame, and it's just, it has a negative impact on your self-esteem.
Totally.
So I mean, like, growing up being like shamed like that was really, really tough.
Yeah.
And not being able to be myself, and I think
totally.
Isn't that where so many of our like bad feelings and anxieties come from? Like, just not
being able to be yourself.
Be ourselves,
yeah.
Right?
And trying to like fit into somebody else's box. And it must be so weird.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no, but it's like so weird, like, especially when you are taught to be ashamed of stuff. Like, you're like, I'm doing this thing that physically and mentally makes me feel really good, but I also feel bad. So, like, am I bad if the thing that makes me feel good is bad?
Yes, says some people, and that's such a shame, isn't it? It's just so sad that this is how we raise children. It's hard enough to be a kid. Why have this, thrown on as another like bad thing that you can do to disappoint people and, rot your brain. Yeah.
Were you able to like grow past that shame with other people? Like, were you sexually active with?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was a band kid, and the band kids,
I didn't ask if you were fucking a trombone.
No, I mean, I did play trombone, however. But no, I mean,
really?
I was sexually active in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, in my life with like my friends, and they knew me as the horn dog kind of guy, So it was more like, at home, I had to hide that part of myself.
Totally.
And now it just feels so good to just be more out in the open with it. It's awesome. It just feels so good to be able to be yourself, doesn't it?
It really does.
Thing.
Yeah, and when Charlotte first told me about you, I was looking at the Instagram stuff, and I was kind of shocked to see your face, because so much of it, like, I'm like, oh wait, he's an audio guy, and he has like a day job. Like, I can't believe he's showing his face. Like, was that something that you were doing from the beginning?
Yeah, I didn't, of course, because, right, like, you're getting into something, and in the beginning, I did kind of hide it, and I was kind of ashamed of it. But as I realized, like, okay, and I looked at my corporation's like code of conduct, and I'm not doing anything unethical or illegal, and I'm busy as hell at work, and I'm pretty productive. So, I mean, really, hey, if someone wants to bring that up at work, whatever, I think that would be kind of distracting. I'm not there to talk about that stuff, and you don't want people to be uncomfortable. So I don't.
Yeah.
And that's my professional life, and this, is something I keep separate, but I'm not ashamed of.
Totally.
Not ashamed of in the least bit. And it feels so good. And like, I mentioned like recovering, and in my own journey, and like just, living a life of being ashamed, like in general, and like being sad and depressed and anxious, and then like getting better and like finding happiness, like, the more and more you can be yourself, and like people respond positively to that, that's like the biggest rush.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I used to be ashamed of this, but in reality, like, people relate to it.
Totally.
So I kind of like, I always tell people, like I tell my therapist, like, I'm addicted to being myself. So that's kind of how I'm rolling with it. And we'll see. Maybe I'll have a pink slip tomorrow.
Yeah.
After the show airs, but who knows?
I said to Charlotte like years ago, I was like, oh, I want to start an anonymous Twitter where I talk about all the gross shit that girls do that nobody talks about or whatever. And then like fast forward to now, I'm like, I come and I fart. And but I get the best response. Like, this podcast is the best response I've ever got from being my most vulnerable self.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's such a huge thing, because it's just, you're relatable. Like, people are like, oh my God, like, I have that same problem too, or I feel that way too. And I think that's why when you do open yourself up like that, and like you starting this podcast, it was an incredibly vulnerable thing, and listening to that first episode, your intro to that. And I was like, wow, and going back and listening to that, it's just like, what an amazing thing, and how rewarding must it be for you to have shared that about yourself, And my God, like the human connections you've probably made for people, may have been dealing with similar issues, or how probably I know you've helped.
Yeah, both making women come without touching them. Isn't that cool?
It's so cute. It's awesome. Yeah. It feels so good.
It feels so good. I'm like, oh, and I don't have to be there for cleanup? That's awesome.
Excellent.
How did you figure out what gets people off? Was it by listening to that other stuff online, or
just experiences
or talking
with
to
partners?
people? Yeah.
Mostly, for like the nuts and bolts of things, experiences with partners, right?
Yeah.
Like I think you go into this like kind of describing how you might make someone come in real life if you were there with them, and that's kind of like the foundation. And then you start to think, okay, like what scenarios can I weave? How can I play to specific kinks? Which is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like knowing the language to use, kind of like DDLG role play or different kinds of role play. Like you may shift your language, you may shift some of the acts, you may shift, how you do and describe things. So that's so much fun. Like, and it's all about like feedback. So, getting the feedback is so awesome because, I can say, hey, I'm trying to hit ABC like XYZ kinks in this audio, and you get that feedback and you're like, damn, like they're like, that was amazing, like that did the job for me. It's like, okay, like mental note, this may work well, here. So that's just a whole lot of fun. It's like, I don't know, a lot of sex for me, like a lot of my enjoyment from pleasing my partner is just like, it's that puzzle, right? Like it's a mind thing, it's a body thing. It's being relaxed, comfortable, and communicating. So, in all those elements, I think I try and set that vibe in my audio. Like, I want you to feel good, and I'm here for you to feel good, and you deserve to feel good. And there's like nothing wrong with that. That's an awesome thing. So, I guess it's an evolution, like to answer the question.
Totally.
You start just like, this makes people come, like when I have sex with them.
Yeah.
And then you just like, you build on that and you start just, I guess you build up the arsenal.
Yeah. And do you incorporate a lot of BDSM in your private relationships?
Yeah, I mean, I play all along the vanilla to kinky spectrum.
Yeah.
As I'd mentioned previously, I have like a DDLG relationship.
Right.
With someone. And that's like, again, it's such an awesome thing. And I've just found that through kink, through some BDSM play that I've done, like you can just, I don't know, it's just, it starts to like, I don't know, actualize sex further. It engages your mind more and more. And that just makes me so fucking hot.
Have you ever been a sub before?
I haven't. I just, I kind of envy those who can get in, like who have a really cool subspace.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have that.
So it's like, it's kind of like a sexuality thing. Like you're either, like you're gay or you're straight or you're bi, or like you either feel like a sub or a dom.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like when I'm engaged in DDLG play, I have like a space that I go into. It's like a really, happy, satisfied, and really in tune with my partner, kind of space. So I guess I have like a dom space, and it's really, really awesome and enriching, if we really get into the play. So yeah, I'd say that is something. It's kind of natural for me in that sense.
And like, I know that you had a lot of trauma in your past, but were you always a very positive person? Like, I feel you're very like, everybody be happy.
Oh, no, I was not.
Really?
I was not.
Wow.
No.
Okay, because I'm the most negativo, and I'm always like, I wonder if I can change.
Oh, you can. So here's me. So I grew up with like bipolar depression, some abuse, complex PTSD, from that stuff. Generally, like just not very, very happy. In my, I'd had some really bad experiences too in like seeking psychiatric care and getting some drugs that didn't really play well with me.
Yeah.
And in my mid-20s, I was kind of like rock bottom when I was 24.
Okay.
I went and I got help, or I tried to get help, psychiatric help and talking therapy. And my psychiatrist, fortunately, he was able to diagnose me as bipolar and give me some drugs that were really effective there. But for my anxiety related to PTSD, he gave me Xanax. And he gave me Xanax to take every day. And after 6 weeks, when I went to him and said, "Hey doc, I can't sleep anymore," because I was beginning like Xanax withdrawal or starting to build a tolerance, he's like, "All right, well, let's up your dose by 25%. Now you should be able to sleep." Well, over the next 9 years, that proceeded to destroy my body, my mind, and my humanity. It affects centers in your brain that just cause your mood to deteriorate. I gained a bunch of weight. It was so terrible. I was bulimic for 8 years because I just could not, I couldn't control the weight I was putting on, just because those drugs were destroying my body.
Yeah.
And if you look at anyone who's taking benzodiazepines, that drug class long term, unfortunately, that's what it does. So I eventually hit rock bottom after 9 years, and my ex-wife, God bless her, she's like my best bud. She saved my life, and she found me a doctor that could help me. And these drugs are really hard to get off of. So it took me 235 days of slow, painful detox from these drugs. And it was like a real spirit journey, guys.
Oh.
It was not very, very much fun.
No.
And, I mentioned some of the damage that I have. I have symptoms that are kind of similar, and these aren't these diseases, but some of the damage from the detox, because it's so traumatic, it's similar to onset MS and Parkinson's symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's kind of shitty, and those are the things where I've had to use kink to gain more stimulation from sex, because some of that physical stuff was really rough. But I guess in the feeling shitty part of my life, I was a really negative person, and I was really miserable, and I had no self-esteem. And in the detox, I found some awesome non-drug therapies that were amazing and totally changed my life.
Yeah.
And I was able, and I did a little podcast on my subreddit about this. And when I was 33 years and 10 months old, I felt the emotion happiness for the first time in my life. That was July of 2018.
Oh my God.
So I'm still riding really high on that. And the awesome thing is I've shared that story with my listeners.
Yeah.
And I have made the most amazing human connections.
Sure.
Through that stuff. I got into this for the porn and the sexy stuff. But through that, I've just connected with people on so many different levels, and they've seen me go from someone who was sick to someone who was happy for the first time in his life. So yes, you can change.
Yeah.
Anyone can. If there's hope for me, and I work, I do a lot of volunteer work for a charity, if I can rep them, here in Chicago, called Hope for the Day. And they're they focus on proactive suicide outreach, and their motto is it's okay not to be okay.
Right.
And, and I lived in such darkness for so long, and I have so much happiness now, and so much joy, literal joy. I'm damn, I never thought I'd feel that.
Yeah.
I just want to share it with people because I know it's so priceless, right? From not feeling it to getting it, I want everyone to have it now because I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And
so yeah.
It can feel so hopeless, especially going through your entire life being am I ever going to experience this? That's such an uplifting thought that if you are going through shit right now, there can be light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah. And if it's suicide prevention or porn, I always have that really positive message of hope because it's a real thing. And I never understood the power of inspiring hope in someone because I never had any, but I sure knew hopelessness. So being on the other side, I kind of call myself a suicide statistic that came out the other side. And being on this side now and being able to help people and, try and spread that hope is really, really amazing. Yeah. And I'm so happy I have this weird porn platform to kind of help send this message too, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. And people need you. And I think a lot of people the thing about feeling hopeless too is you do have to do the work. You did a lot of work. You did seek out help and you did programs.
Yeah.
And that some people aren't ready to do that. But I do advise if you feel you're in that place and you just can't get out, you're probably not going to get out just by sitting in your own thoughts.
No, but that's so easy to do, and it can be so scary, to take that first step. So I'm not really here to push people, but hey, when you're ready and you need someone to encourage you and give you a smile, hey, I'm here for you.
Yeah,
it's really so awesome that I could have gone into it for really, really unhealthy reasons, start my recovery, share my recovery with my listeners, and they've been so supportive, and just making awesome human connections, and now having such a wonderful time, doing it now, just spreading smiles and hopefully O's.
Yeah. No, I
awesome.
think we have like similar journeys because I very much started this selfishly. I was like, I just want to come. I just, and I'll end it like when I do. But there's no better feeling than somebody else enjoying the thing that, you set out to just enjoy yourself.
It's amazing. It's so amazing. And yeah, I'll say like I'm the most selfish guy in the world. Like if I'm standing in front of people at a suicide prevention thing talking about like my story, it's for selfish reasons because it makes me feel good to share. And, like, I gain like support and it like fills my tank.
And that's okay.
Relate to other people.
Yeah, like
right?
everybody.
So that's why I get so much out of this.
Whenever I'm like super depressed, like Charlotte or my mom or Ben, they'll always be like, "Go do charity work," and I'll be like, "But that's just to make me feel better." And they're like, "That's fine, as long as it's making other people feel better too. Like that's why you do that stuff."
I'm the exact same way. Like if I'm having a bad day, my office is in the Chicago Loop, and there are always tons of people like down on their luck outside, and I'll go outside and give someone some money and just talk to them and ask them their name and say, hey, I care about you, or like I love you. It's such an awesome thing. Doesn't it just like it? I don't know. It makes my heart smile. It's amazing.
Yeah,
everyone just wants connection.
Yeah, totally.
But you have to be vulnerable to get that, right? And I think that's if you can manage to be vulnerable, and you get so much back. It's amazing.
Definitely.
Who was the first person that you ever had like a sexual encounter with?
The first sexual encounter, I'd probably have to say that it was when I was a young child with another kid my age, like doing some like mutual touching stuff.
Yeah.
Before you've got like the shame before anyone tells a little boy, oh, that's gay, before you get shamed for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
You're just like, you're checking things out like, whoa, this thing gets hard if I touch it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say that's, those are like the earliest, like, a few of those instances were probably like my earliest sexual memories.
Yeah. I read today that some church is now saying that masturbation is gay. And I'm like, oh, wow, I guess we're all gay.
And that's fine.
And that's
cool.
fine, yeah. So you were talking about how you struggled with bulimia, and I think that's such a vulnerable thing, especially for men to talk about, because we don't often talk about male eating disorders. Was that something that you were able to talk about with people at the time?
Like a few people like close to me knew about it. And I guess I had like enough problems to where that wasn't like the chief one.
Yeah.
talk to me about. But yeah, I mean, it's really tough. Like, and so many guys, like they have these issues. They'll have body issues, or they'll have confidence issues or whatever. And guys aren't taught to talk to other people.
Yeah.
They're not taught to be. Vulnerability is weakness.
Yeah.
Like if you bring up the word vulnerable to a man, he's probably going to say you're being weak. Or whatever. And I think guys, they have these feelings and then they don't know how to express them. Like, women, you can oftentimes talk to one another about like sex, like a lot easier. You always, we'll hear like women able to talk about that, but men don't really do that aside from like bragging. I guess, but there's no like, hey, I'm having like this problem with my girlfriend or wife or my boyfriend or whomever. We can't have those conversations. Or we're taught that those are scary conversations to have, or we shouldn't be having them, or you need to solve your own problems.
Right.
And, and I think guys don't have that outlet. Then when they feel these uncomfortable feelings, like they act out in like nasty guy ways.
Totally.
Or
nasty. Nasty anyone ways when you're like super pent up, like you're gonna get aggressive. Like I know that when I have boyfriends and like say I lock up something like an emotion that I have towards them, and I just like, keep it down the way it's coming. And then it spills over into, well, you never kiss me on the mouth enough. But yeah, I think as a guy, it's tough to unlearn that stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I had this awful like detox that damaged my brain to kind of like rewire me, and I came out a grinning idiot on the other side that's happy to be like, happy to use this public forum to talk about all those things. Because like to be like human really is to I kind of view it as like humans are hilarious because we're animals, but like we don't view ourselves as animals.
Yeah.
But we have all these animal instincts.
Yeah.
But humans also have this like amazing frontal cortex that we evolved, and like these amazing evolved brains. And I think that like being a good human is like using that frontal cortex and like your human reasoning and like the positive things inside of us to overrule those like nasty animal, urges.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe something that maybe it's something that doesn't benefit us in the short term. Maybe it's delaying gratification. Maybe it's, maybe changing your worldview to be more forward thinking, or to, take other people's happiness into consideration.
Yeah.
Right. It's like all of those, all those things.
Totally. Do you think any couples have listened to your stuff together? Have you gotten that response?
Yes, I have. And like one of the most amazing messages actually came from a listener who'd been listening for a while, and she commented on my stuff and sent me some really sweet, thank you messages. And then one day she sends me a message and she's like, I have to tell you something. Mm-hmm. So she's in her mid-30s, and her and her husband had been married since their early 20s. Had a few kids, and their bedroom life was kind of like stagnant. And she had said, like, she got her husband to listen to some of my stuff, mm-hmm. and she essentially told him, hey, like, you listen to him, do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Do what he's describing. And she's like, Jim, I squirted for the first time. Woo! I was like, that was so amazing.
That's awesome.
And what was so cool about that was, like, how much of a drag that can be on a marriage.
Yeah.
Like, how, that's like a huge thing. And they had like two kids, whose like mom and dad like weren't getting along as well. And it was putting a strain on their
everything.
Marriage.
Yeah.
So like, it was so cool. I make porn for the children. Right?
Do it for the kids.
Yeah. Like, but no, like knowing that, like, that was a huge satisfaction, knowing you helped a family
like,
get a little bit better. And if I had more time to do this, because I have so many ideas I'd love to do. And from that, I got the idea to make like couples, like guided, like audio things.
That's smart.
It could be anyone, like for, if you're, having sex with a woman, like little things that you can do. And I would definitely love to make some of those. Cause like, what would be, like a bigger gift to everybody than like get guys to be better at sex, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the best gift that you can give to women, I think, right? Like, I hear so many terrible stories.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
And if guys would be, I think, more comfortable talking about sex, and maybe they could get better. If we could just teach everyone like that real basic, like, come here motion, mm-hmm. and how to do some basic, cunnilingus, wouldn't the world just be a better place?
Yeah.
If we taught all that, like, that's like, you have to get that in health class.
Yeah. You do.
One of the things I have out on Quinn is a guided masturbation. So yeah, I would love to make more of those things. Just so many hours in the day to record porn. I live by an L stop here in Chicago, so I got noise problems. I got a loud cat,
Yeah. Do you ever masturbate while making your porn?
I do. Mm-hmm. I do. It's trade secrets, right?
Yeah.
But no. Some of my porn, I'll record just the vocal part, and then I will add in some fun sex effects, as I call them.
Ooh.
So essentially, that's me like using my cock and my other anatomy to make sounds that mimic those effects.
What's
and
that
sometimes,
thing in movies where it's like doing making sounds with
Foleying.
Yeah, it's Foley work. You're doing Foley work.
I didn't use the term because I thought you guys might not know what I was talking about, but yeah. Some really hilarious Foleying. Getting, a lot of baby oil and other lubricants way too close to really high quality microphones.
Okay.
Really kind of a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
That I do.
But you do it for the craft.
No, thank you. And some stuff I do masturbate.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling especially filthy, just, feeling a certain way. I think maybe they're not as crisp and polished as some of them, but they're pretty dirty. So, I think folks enjoy that.
Yeah, and they're real.
Yeah. Like the more stimuli, it can be an immersive thing, and it brings people into the audio. If the sex sounds like sex and like it sounds wet and it's like two bodies slapping together,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of what sex can sound like.
Totally.
I think, it brings people, into it. So happy to add those in. They're a lot of fun. But when I do have to, do some advanced dick recording, it can take a while.
I love it. I also loved, you said, I think an orgasm is the pinnacle of happiness. So making content that helps people with those is amazing. I like to spread smiles and cuddles via comfort and relaxation audio too.
Yeah.
So you do relaxation
Yeah,
as well.
I do like kind of like cuddle stuff where it's totally safe for work. Like in one of them, I mic'd up, like I got my cat purring, and I Foleyed my cat. And he has some real awesome like purrs. So like it was like a really, really soothing thing. So I just had a little audio where this little, boyfriendy role play thing where I was cuddling you on the bed and giving you head kisses, and my cat Admiral Nelson comes up and starts cuddling with us, and that's so much fun. Like for people, like it's almost more rewarding when people like that, when it's like just me chatting about like shit in my day.
Yeah.
And because like it's just more of like a me thing, right? It's
totally.
So cool. It's so cool when people dig that stuff, and I love it. To give someone like comfort and help someone sleep. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you guys, if you're not comfortable enough listening to audio porn yet, start with an audio cuddle. I think that could be really nice for all of us. Jim, it's been so nice talking to you. Thank you so much for being a guest on this show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Of course. Can you tell our listeners where they can find you online and otherwise?
Of course. If you go to feelgoodfilth.com, I've got links to everywhere you can find my content, Reddit and Pornhub included. I have links to my Patreon. If you really like my stuff, I would love to do more, and I would love to do this someday as a job. I've got a dream, right? So go to feelgoodfilth.com. You can find all of that stuff there.
Yes. You guys can always find us at How Come Podcast. I'm at Remy Casimir. Charlotte's at Sharkastic. Go to our Patreon, too, if you want to support this podcast.
We're going to have extras with Jim and Caroline on there, so look out for those.
Patreon.com/howcome. Jim, I have to ask this to all of our guests and anybody we're having a sexual experience with, which this has been. Jim, did you finish?
Oh, hell yeah.
Amazing. Charlotte, did you finish?
Oh, yeah. I definitely did. Did you?
Oh, puddles all over the seat. Thank you so much for coming.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
And we'll see you next time on How Come.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
I love him.
I know, he's so cute.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz